Today we're going to be doing Cricut Christmas DIYs with inexpensive blanks that I found and also with some SVG files that I found online. The idea is that we're not going to be using Cricut Access this time, and I'm going to show you how you can make some items. I'm Marie, welcome to my channel. I am so glad you're here today. Okay, I have this tray that I got from Hobby Lobby. You can find this in the woodcraft section. This retailed for $14.99 and I did get it 40% off, so that brought it down to $8.40. And I love how it has these little handles on the side here, and then there's kind of a side view of it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put some Cricut decals on this. But before I do that, I'm going to give it a coat of matte Mod Podge. I also measured the inside of the tray to get the correct measurements for my piece I'm putting on here. We're just going to add one coat of Mod Podge all around the tray here. I have these images that I got off of a website called Fontsy, and I'll have those linked for you below. I have some in black, and then this one here I'm going to do in the white. They have so many styles for really cheap prices, and they also have lots of bundles really cheap too, and you can also use them for commercial use. Okay, this is now dry. I'm going to just move this aside for a second, and what I've done is I have already weeded out my pattern here, and I've weeded it out, which means I've taken it off, the extra permanent vinyl has been weeded off of it. So I actually put it back on the transfer tape itself backing, not the permanent vinyl backing, but the transfer tape backing. And so I'll be peeling this off of here like this. I've got this piece back on here now. Mod Podge is dry. The Mod Podge helps the vinyl adhere better to the raw wood. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to center it. Make sure I've got it centered on here. Okay, so we're going to peel back the transfer tape. Now, I actually thought this would be the easiest, and it turns out it's really not. It turns out the circle parts was actually the hardest to do, to keep that circle absolutely circular and the way it should be. And you can see that I am fighting with it in different spots here. Now, I've done several Cricut projects now. I've had my Cricut for a while. I have a Cricut Maker, that's what I use. And I have to tell you, so this is one of my first attempts at a more complicated design. So you can see I'm struggling with this one a little bit here, but just stay tuned to see how this turns out. This decal design has printed off on 3 separate sheets, and the circles and the snowflakes are on one sheet, and then the wording is on another sheet, and then the Santa Claus face is on a 3rd sheet. So I printed them off that way, or cut them on the Cricut that way, and then I also cut them down a little bit more myself to put them on separately. So that will give me more control in doing the layers of the decals. Okay, so this is the wording, and the wording all printed together. I know you can't see it. Some of it's here and some of it's here. I have decided to cut it and weed it out separately and apply it separately so that I have more control over this. This is just a quick tip, and it might be obvious to you, but sometimes when I have like scraps, like you'll notice I'm cutting away some of these pieces. So in order to keep track of what kind of vinyl you have, just remember, well, you can kind of see it on this one, permanent, see? It'll say on the back, this is from the Paper Studio in Hobby Lobby, and then this is permanent. So that'll be on the back, so you can keep track of whether you have removable or permanent that you're using when you have scraps left over. Okay, so I've gotten the main part of this weeded. You probably can't see that very well. I can't tell. But now we're going to weed out, I'm going to weed out like this O here. So I'm going to weed out the center of the O. You can see that. I don't know. It's white on white, so it's difficult to see. But that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so that's all weeded out, and it says cookies for Santa. And so what I like to do is I just kind of like to make sure everything is kind of down flat on the paper here, or on the backing, before I put the transfer tape on. That way when it goes to transfer, everything transfers as smoothly as possible. Okay, here's my transfer tape that I've saved in its own backing here. So I'm going to just take that off, and I'm going to put it on here. Make sure you don't have any bubbles, make sure it's going down smoothly. Alright, so I'm going to just smooth this down and make sure that everything is on here nicely, and it's going to stick to my transfer tape like it's supposed to, so that I can pull it off with the transfer tape and then put it on to my tray, hopefully pretty easily. Because it is curved, I'm a little concerned about that. Alright, here we go. Let's see how well we can position this. My transfer tape is really new. I just bought it and it's really sticky, so I'm having a little bit harder time. The more you use it and the more wear it gets, the easier it is to use. So here's my Santa face in the vinyl, and what I did was I weeded the extra vinyl off around the edges first, and I just used my scissors to trim it away so that I could focus on the pieces in the center more easily. And so another thing I want to show you is I have a little tip here. Use a lint roller and use that to put your extra vinyl pieces on, and it will stick to it and you won't have to fight with them. Okay, all of that weeding is done and was successful. Very slowly. I did it very slowly. So now we're going to add our Santa onto our tray. We have to be careful when we're weeding. That's the first time we have to be careful, and then we have to be careful when we're putting it down and peeling up the transfer tape to make sure that stays where it's supposed to be. The links for these designs will be listed below in my description box. I just do this, I go around and I push all of these. I mean, I use the Cricut tool, but I also use my finger because I find that it helps to go over each of these spaces to make sure that it stays, especially these smaller ones here, these cheekbones. This is, or like the little eye wrinkles. This is another place. All right, see if that was good enough. This particular part went much better than I thought it would, so I was really happy about that. You might want to put like some Mod Podge on top of it, specifically some food safe Mod Podge. If you really want to put down some cookies and carrots for the reindeer, I think that would be a great idea, but you do want to seal it first with a food safe Mod Podge. Okay, so I have this piece here from Walmart, and this is for decor purposes only. You can find this in the craft section there. It was $5, and it's a decent piece of wood. All right, I'm just taking my trusty masking tape and I'm going to mark off half of this, painted it in my trusty Waverly Plaster, and now I'm just using 220 sandpaper on it to rough up some edges and some areas where I want to make it look slightly distressed. I have this Merry Christmas font here. This is from Fontsy, just like the others. I'm showing you this one. Mine was in a bundle. I'm going to try to find that, but I'm having a little trouble finding it. Anyways, we're going to lay it down here on the cutting board. Make sure we have it down. Oh, that was like the easiest one, wasn't it? Beautiful. Love it when that happens. All right, this is a gross grain ribbon. Gross grain ribbon. Gross grain. It's from the Dollar Tree, and I believe. And so we're just gonna make a bow. We're using hot glue today to make a bow. Sometimes I make it this way, sometimes I make it a different way depending on how, and then we're gonna layer it with another Dollar Tree bow in the gingham. Loving the gingham this year, in the green, the orange, and the blue, and the red. So pretty. Also a snowflake, also from Dollar Tree. These come in a pack. Painted that with the plaster, and I'm just adding that to the top there. I have some small pieces of greenery. I tore off a larger one, and I am just hot gluing those on. And voila, you have a cute Christmas cutting board. All right, we have this cute little chalkboard, also from the Dollar Tree, $1.25. We're gonna make a little gingerbread sign with this. I'm using the Mrs. Claus Baking Company SVG from Fontsy for this. And so I just took this and uploaded it to my Cricut. I thought I would show you a little bit about how this works. And then you're going to go ahead, and I printed it off. And I'll show you a little bit more later on with a couple other DIYs. And we're just going to put that right there in the middle of that chalkboard. So I'm showing you that my B pieces did not come off like they should have, the centers of the B and the A. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those on manually. They were still on the backing of my permanent vinyl backing. And then we're just going to add our little scrolls in here. Okay, we just have this last piece here to add at the bottom. And then we'll see. Ooh, look at that. Nope, gotta watch those little dots on your eyes. Make sure they come off when you want them to come off, and they stick when you want them to stick. Okay, I just have some of this leftover ribbon. This is actually from last year, just hot gluing that on. I'm loving this little polymer clay baked, it's like a baked piece of bread candy cane. It's so cute. I got this off of Etsy. I will link the shop below for you. We're just gonna hot glue that on the corner there. This is gonna be great on one of my tiered trays. I think I'm gonna do a gingerbread theme for one of my trays this year. So if you're not subscribed to my channel and you'd like to see that, you might wanna subscribe so that you don't miss that. I love this craft piece from Hobby Lobby. It was on sale for $12. You want to get it when it's 40% off. It's 12 by 17. I'm measuring it because I'm making my own fonts. This is going to be a sign that has words on it. I'm going to have the names of Christ on this one for Christmas time. And I have the fonts, I'll have them listed below. They're free fonts. And one of the things that I'm trying to do here is, and you can see how I'm putting them on to the mat here in Design Space. One of the things I'm trying to do is to show you how you can use your Cricut for little money and without the Cricut Access. I did end up canceling mine because I found that I did not use my Cricut enough to justify having it all the time, but you can reactivate it whenever you want. So for this one, I'm going to be using the removable vinyl from the Paper Studio. I got this at Hobby Lobby, and we'll be using the standard mat. Now I printed off all of my lettering. I did 2 different fonts, and what I have done is I've spaced them out here the way I want them, so I've got everything laid out the way I want it, so when I go to put my vinyl down, everything will be in the right place. So I put those down, took one off at a time, weeded it out, put it on the transfer tape, and then applied it to the sign. I think I just want to stop here and point out that I find it easier, instead of trying to pull all my vinyl off in one swoop, to kind of cut it as I go and then kind of come back and finish with some of the other parts. It could be that my blade is more dull now than it used to be, which is entirely possible. But I do find that doing it this way gives me a little better control over my letters and I don't mess up quite as much.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King, peace on earth and mercy.
I have this Christmas ornament SVG bundle and I'll be using that for this Christmas ornament. Now I uploaded my font to my Cricut Design Space. I'm using a template to get my font down to the right size for the ornament, which is 2.5 inches. I'm choosing vinyl to use, and then what I'm doing is I'm using a smaller piece of vinyl to put into the machine so that I can conserve my vinyl and I don't waste it. So that's what you see me doing here. So these ornaments I got off of Amazon. They come with jute twine, but the one that I bought came with a different jute twine, actually suitable probably for Halloween, but I just used my own jute twine from the dollar store, and I made a little loop here to hang it. This is heat transfer vinyl. I cut this with the Cricut earlier in the year, and I used an iron to put it on, and then this is permanent vinyl I'm putting on top of that. Okay, so I have my Fontsy design here. And again, there'll be links below to either all of these or something similar, depending on if they still have them. I just purchased them a few months ago though, so it shouldn't be, they should still have most, if not all of these, I would think. I just want to point out that I did purchase all of these fonts and designs, and that I am not sponsored at all by Fontsy. My A was giving me just a little trouble there. Okay, so now I'm just going to take some matte Mod Podge, and then I'm going to just take a small brush and Mod Podge over the top of this. So I'm doing the surface of the ornament in the vinyl first, and then I'm going to kind of go over the edges also because it seems to be kind of flaking a little bit. So, but do this first so you don't get the flaky pieces in on your actual picture there. I have these little metal rings that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, Joann's. Not sure. All right, so I'm just going to put one of those little metal pieces down, and then I put a bead on top of it there and I painted it plaster, and then I put another metal piece on top of that. I tied another knot at the top so that it would make it into an ornament that you can hang. I'm taking the little gingham bow here, I'm tying it with raffia. I'm going to trim off that raffia in the back, and then I'm going to use a permanent glue as well as hot glue. You see me tying the knot there, and then I'm going to tie another knot also. I don't think I show that. There's the glue, put it down on there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and trim my bows here. And then after I get that the way I want it, I decided I'm going to go ahead and do those little, they call them dovetailing, but I'm just doing mine each one by one here. And there you go. Now I'm tying the knot in the top. There you go. You can also get these really cool ceramic tags at the Dollar Tree for $1.25, and these would be great for an ornament, for a tiered tray, or for a gift package. I found this snowflake design on Cricut's website. You can totally find designs that are not part of Cricut Access that you can get for free. And that's where I got this one, and I'm just sizing it down to the size that I need for this ornament. Okay, so I'm also going to use for the ceramic tag the removable vinyl. And so we're going to put this on, and then you could make it permanent if you wanted it to be a keepsake. I am doing this for video purposes, so I'm going to use the removable, and then if I actually go to use it for someone, I'll make it permanent. But I haven't decided yet. All right, we're just going to pull that off, pulling the extra vinyl off, and then we're just going to place it on our ceramic piece. The ceramic pieces are really good for the vinyl because they take it really well. You could leave it just like this for a simple Scandinavian style design, or add a pretty bow to dress it up. If you enjoyed this video, here's another video for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.